So let's say you or somebody you know has a perfume business or any other kind of business that sells products. No matter what kind of business it is, it's going to need some sort of visual presentation for these products. And usually businesses use photographers for this, but the problem is that a photographer can only do so much. And then on top of that, he has to show up to location, or he has to book a fucking studio, or he has to receive the product by mail. It becomes a real pain in the ass. But if you know how to use a program like Blender to visualize products, you just have to make your little perfume bottle, and then every single day you can produce like 2 new scenes, and you don't have to go anywhere. You just sit on the computer, you set something up, and you can produce endless content for any particular product. So that's what this video is going to be about today. We're going to make this little perfume bottle. We're going to set up a little scene. If you got any questions along the way, just ask them in the comments. I'll probably make another video to answer some of those questions. And then if you want to get serious about product visualization in Blender, you can check out my premium product animation course. There's a link for that in the description. Now I'm going to shut up and let's go start the tutorial. Okay, first we have to add a plane, and we're going to subdivide that plane 2 times. And I'm doing that because when I add the subdivision surface modifier, I don't want the subdivision surface modifier to turn this surface into a circle. I want to have some supporting geometry so it just looks like a square with round edges. And then we extrude this up, and from a side view we extrude this according to the reference image in the background. And I got this reference image from Google. If you don't know how to add reference images, you just go Shift A, go to image, add a reference image, and load it up from your computer. Anyway, now I'm just adding some supporting geometry to adjust the shape of the corners. I'm moving some geometry around to make sure I get the shape right. And then we get to the top part where I have to use loop tools to turn this square surface into a circle. Now if you don't got your loop tools, then you gotta go up to your edit preferences, get extensions, you gotta install the loop tools, then you gotta go to the add-on section, you gotta activate them, and then you're gonna have your loop tools. This is the type of shit they change every time they update Blender, so maybe now it's different. But anyway, I turn this surface into a circle, and then I use that circle to extrude the neck of the bottle. Once I extrude the neck, then I use the surface from the top to extrude the inner part of the bottle. Now when I use a circular surface on the top to extrude the inner part of the bottle, then the inside also has a circular shape, but it's supposed to be a square shape like the outside of the bottle. Luckily I was born with a high IQ score, as were all the people who watch my videos, so we already have a solution for this. We're going to delete part of the circle, then we're going to duplicate some geometry from the outside which has a square shape. We invert the normals on that so they're facing inwards, and that way it's going to be good for the inside of the bottle. And then we just use our bridge edge loops tool to connect that square shape with the circular shape, and after that we can continue extruding that downwards and fill in the rest of the bottle. Now on the neck we have these edge loops which are very soft, so we have to select those, we have to sharpen them a little bit. To do that I just like to add a bevel, so Control B, and once we create a little bevel we set the shape value to 1 and we set the number of segments to 2. We also need a lid for this thing, but I don't just want to use a UV sphere because a UV sphere has pretty shitty geometry, and that shitty geometry is going to cause all sorts of shading artifacts and it might give us some problems down the line. So we're going to make our own sphere with clean topology. To do that I add a cube, I subdivide that thing a couple of times, and after I apply the subdivision surface modifier, then I add a cast modifier. I set the factor there to 1 and I apply the cast modifier, and then the basic shape of the bottle is more or less finished. Now let me also tell you how I made this little tube on the inside which sucks the liquid out and sprays it onto your face. In object mode we add a path curve, and then you go to the curve settings, you find geometry, and you set the depth here to whatever number is suitable. That gives the curve a little bit of thickness, and then you go up here to the object menu, you convert this curve to a mesh. When you convert it to a mesh, now you can extrude it inwards to give it a little bit of thickness with Alt S, and there you go. Now you got your little tube. Now let's move on to the materials. Now the materials, check this shit out. We're using Blender 4.5 and they added a couple of new features. So far I only found one, but I bet you there's going to be something else that we can look at. But first we have to make a glass material, then we're going to make a material for the liquid on the inside, then we're going to make a wood material for this ball lid on top of the perfume, and then after that we can start building an environment, maybe make some sort of an animation or something like that. So first of all, look, we're going to switch up here to the rendered view. Now my scene is completely dark, yours might not be completely dark. That's because I go to shading, I switch to world here, and here you can edit the nodes for the world, so for the environment. And if you turn this strength down to 0, then the world is going to be completely black, and by default this is set to 1, so it gives you a little bit of environmental lighting. I don't like that, so I just turned it all the way down. I also deleted this little lamp here, so I'm going to go Shift A light, I'm going to add a sunlight. And now here's the thing, when you set up a sun lamp in Blender 4.5 you get a few more things which you can control here. In the previous version we had strength, we had angle, we had max bounces, we can control the color, and that's pretty much it. But now you can control the temperature of the lamp. So if you set the temperature to whatever you want here, now you can make it blue, you can make it yellow, you can make it red. But what's even more important here is that you can change the exposure, and I guess that sort of controls the contrast of this lamp. I'm not sure how it works. It says here when you hover over it scales the power of the light exponentially, multiplying the intensity by 2 to the power of exposure. So we're going to set the strength strength to 1, we're going to set the exposure to something like 4.5, and then we're going to set the angle here to something like maybe 5. So now we can add the glass material. We select the bottle, we go to the shading tab, and we're going to add a new material here. Now there's 2 ways to make glass. You can delete the principal BSDF node and just add a glass node and plug that shit into surface here, or you can continue to use your principal BSDF node, but then you're going to go down here to transmission, you turn that all the way up, you reduce the roughness to something close to 0, and as you can see, it looks pretty much exactly the same. Maybe the light behaves a little bit differently, but as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much the same thing. Let's add the liquid on the inside. Here's how you do that. First, we apply the subdivision surface modifier on the outside of the bottle. Then I'm going to move my view on the inside of the bottle. I'm going to select one of these edge loops here close to the bottom, and then with Control Plus, I'm going to expand my selection until I have a surface large enough where it looks like it's the liquid on the inside of the bottle. So we want something like this. We're going to duplicate that, separate it to a new object with P. Then take this in edit mode. You're going to fill in the top. Maybe we can inset it a little bit. Then we're going to lower this down and bevel it just a little bit like this. And also this part of the outside, we're going to bevel a little bit. And now you have an extra volume on the inside, but we still have to correct the normals, and we also have to make it a little bit smaller than this inner surface. And then we can add a new material for that. So we're going to go to the materials tab, add a new material there. This is a separate object, so we can remove the first glass material. And in this material, we're going to add another glass BSDF node. And again, you can use a principled node as well. We're going to set the IOR to something like 1.33. I think that's the IOR for water. And then we have to set the color to whatever, some kind of orange color like this. And now here's the important part. We're going to play around with something called caustics. This is just some kind of a feature which makes the shadows behave in a way that makes them more realistic. So first of all, I think it might be a good idea to merge these two objects back into one, so the liquid and the bottle are one object. And then you select the bottle, you go down to this little object properties menu here, and you scroll down, you find shading, and in this shading section down here, you're going to find caustics. Here you want to check cast shadow caustics. Don't check the other one. The other one has to be checked for the plane. So for the plane, go to the same menu, then check receive shadow caustics, and then you want to select the sun lamp. You want to go to the lamp settings, and then you open up the settings here, and this is where you check shadow caustics. Now just a heads up, this is going to make Blender slow as fuck. I got a pretty good graphics card, but it still makes the rendering process almost 10 times slower. So you might want to turn this off for the time being until you get to the rendering part later, but trust me, it's going to make the render look a million times better afterwards. And another thing, the caustics might not be very visible if you use a sunlight, so instead you want to change over to area light. You want to pump the power up. We're also going to reduce the angle a little bit to make this look a little bit nicer. And now if you render your scene, you can look at the shadow of this perfume bottle and you can see what I'm talking about. The shadow is a million times more sophisticated, so this is a really important feature. I know it takes a long time to render, but if you want to get good results, you're going to have to sit through that shit. But I'm going to turn off my caustics for now because I don't want to deal with that right now. I want to have a quick viewport. I'm going to turn them on later when I want to render my animation. We got to add a material for this little cap here. So select this thing, new material, name this whatever. We need a wood texture for this thing. There's a pretty good website called Ambient CG. I don't know if it's good, but it's free. You can get some textures there. You want to use this one right here. This is the one I downloaded here. If I click on it, it's called Wood 051. You can see the link up here. If you can't find it, you download that over here. And once you download that, now you got these little textures on your computer. I just need my roughness map and my normal GL map. Set the roughness color space to non-color, plug that into roughness. Then you take the normal map, you also set that to non-color, you run that through a normal map node, then you connect that over here into normal input. The base color has to be black. Now here's the really important part. We're gonna map this so it looks like it has a circular projection. It's supposed to look nice and cute. So let me show you how to do that. You select this thing here, you press Ctrl T to activate the node wrangler. If you don't have this activated, again, you're gonna go edit preferences, type in node wrangler into the add-on section, you're gonna find it. Then you get these two nodes right here. You want to plug those into both of these image texture nodes, and now you have to change the texture coordinate from UV to normal or generated, depends on which one looks better. They both look good in this case. So as you can see now, it looks like they've been brushed into a circular pattern, so that looks pretty cute. You can reduce the scale a little bit to something like 0.7 or 5 or whatever. I want to make my roughness map a little bit more glossy, so I'm going to turn down the brightness on the roughness map with a brightness contrast node. Then I'm also going to reduce the power on the normal map here. Maybe we even want to reduce the specularity a little bit so the reflections are not as intense, but there you go, and that looks pretty nice. And now we gotta talk about the label on the perfume bottle. So check this out. I've made this little picture right here. I really don't think I gotta sit here and guide you through the process of creating this. It's a blank canvas with some fucking black text boxes. I think a 5-year-old child can probably do this today. So you can make this in any program, PaintNet, fucking Instagram, image editor, Canva, whatever you want. Probably Snapchat can pull this off. So we got this picture right here. And now I'm gonna go over here to the front of the bottle where I'm going to place my 3D cursor onto the surface, and here I'm going to add a mesh plane, which I'm going to flip sideways sideways like this. Let's set up the dimensions of this thing so it's more or less like the label. So it's supposed to be something like this. Then we're going to subdivide it a couple of times, subdivide, subdivide, subdivide until we have enough geometry here. I'm actually going to undo a couple of steps. I don't want to subdivide it too much because I want to be able to bevel these vertices here to make these corners nice and round. And I think I'm going to delete the geometry on the inside because I want to be able to use a grid fill tool here. We set that to 16 and I think we got to do -5. So 16 and -7 does it. Now we have geometry which is going to work well with a shrink wrap modifier. First, let's add the texture here, new material. We're going to throw this picture into this material right here. So we got our image texture. You plug that into base color. Then you probably want to UV unwrap this. You want to flip that sideways or adjust it according to this image here. Scale it down a little bit. It's going to be something more or less like this. And then once we got that going, now we go to the modifier tab, add modifier. You're going to go deform and you're going to find the shrink wrap modifier. Target this thing right here. And then you're going to change the wrap method here to project. The reason we're using project is so that if we look at this from front view, if you turn this off and on, you're going to see that there's no distortion on the label. If we just use nearest point on surface, then it kind of distorts the shape. It's not really visible here, but you would see it if the surface was more curvy. Anyway, we apply the shrink wrap modifier. Now we can extrude this a little bit. And there you go. Now we got a little label here, so that's pretty good. And now we set up our perfume bottle, and now we can use this to create any sort of animation that we want. So far it took me approximately half an hour to create this, maybe 1 hour, because I was playing around with a few things when I wasn't recording. And now I can use this bottle to create any kind of animation I like. I won't have to do it again. So if I was working with this company, I have this ready to go. So anytime they need a new animation, I just have to think of something or look at something on Instagram and I'll be able to come up with an idea. I put that shit together, I send it to them, and we're good to go. That's how you do a client project properly. Now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with this perfume bottle. Here's the Instagram page for it. Shout out to them. I don't know if they want to have anything to do with me. Maybe they fucking sue me for making this video, but fuck it. I'm just coming here so I can get some inspiration for something we can make in Blender. And by the way, guys, I found this animation right here. This type of shit is pretty popular. If you want, I can make another tutorial for how you can create these kind of videos. But for now, let's just keep it really simple. Let's say we want to set up a shot which looks something like this one here. I don't really feel like making the box this time, so I don't want to do all this. Let's try something like this because we're gonna have to use these shadows here. So first of all, let's get something which we can use to cast these kind of shadows. Let's go over to Sketchfab. Sketchfab is just a website where you can download a bunch of different models. It's completely for free for most things. You can also sell your models here, but we're gonna type in something like fern. When you type in fern, you get a bunch of these little leaves here. We're just gonna pick one that looks cute. Actually, I think it wasn't a fern. I think it was a palm tree. So let's try finding a palm tree which has nice leaves. I think this potted plant right here is pretty nice. It's not a palm tree, but the leaves are nice. They're not very thick and the shadows look pretty cute. So go down here, download 3D model. Just click on the GLB. You're gonna download that here. And now once you downloaded it, you go back to Blender. You go up here to file, then you click on import and click on GLB. Find this file which should be in your downloads folder. You throw that into your scene and there you have your palm tree. Now I don't need the whole thing. I just need a couple of leaves. So I'm gonna separate a few of these leaves over here and I'm gonna delete the pot. I'm gonna take my area lamp here. I'm gonna pull it way back. I'm also gonna reduce the angle here a little bit. Let's also make this bigger, and now we can start setting up the shadows here. So we just have to place these leaves between the lamp and the scene. So let's place them somewhere around here for a start. Of course, the closer you bring them to the lamp, the more blurry the shadows are going to be, and the closer you are to the floor, the sharper the shadows are going to be. In this case, if you're using an area light, you have to change the size here, and the bigger the size, the softer the shadows, and the smaller the size, the sharper the shadows. So I want my shadows here to be pretty sharp. Now we're going to have 3 of these bottles, and one of them even has to be sideways, so it has to be lying down on the floor. So we're going to flip that sideways real quick like this. Now when you're doing product visualization or when you're just doing 3D modeling in general, you really have to pay attention to how you set up the scene. So you can't just take the default position of the camera and render this. It's gonna look like shit, I promise you. You have to kind of try and think about it like a photographer or like a filmographer or something. You have to sort of set up your scene. So you gotta have some basic photography skills. You gotta think about how you're gonna place your camera. You gotta think about the aspect ratio, the depth of field. You want to think about the focal length and shit like that. In this case, we're just gonna try and copy this picture that we have here, and we're gonna play around with that setup a little bit. So I'm gonna place my camera up here. I'm gonna go to the output properties. Let's set the resolution to 1080 by 1080. That way we have an aspect ratio of 1:1. That's a good format for an Instagram post. We can also zoom in over here on the focal length settings for the camera. And now look, you can sit here and play around with these things all day. This part is probably gonna take longer than the modeling process. For example, I also wanted to add an HDRI, so I go back to my world shading settings. I press Ctrl T on the background. Now I can load it in HDRI. If you don't have an HDRI, you just go to Google, type in HDRI, you're gonna find a website like HDRI Haven or something like that, and just find an image that looks something like this. You plug that into your background node, you set the strength to 1, and then you're gonna have some environmental lighting as well. And that can be really important because it creates reflections in your objects, and then it makes it look like it's in an actual scene. And now check this out, here's a few more things that are gonna make this scene look a little bit more pretty. First of all, in the shading tab for the world nodes, we're gonna reduce the strength of the background, so we're gonna reduce the power of the HDRI lighting. I don't want it to be 1, I want it to be something more like 0.3, maybe 0.4. And then also we gotta select the floor, and we're gonna change the material for the floor. Right now it's very pale. I want to turn up metallic to something like 0.75. That just changes the way the shadows look, it changes the way the reflections look. I set my roughness here to 0 so you can kind of see the reflections from the bottles. And you also might want to play around with the color of this plane, so you can make it darker, or you can give it a sort of brown or warm color or something like that. And then I also want to make this a little bit more interesting by animating these shadows right here. So to do that, I would first create an arrow here where I parented the leaf to the empty arrow. You don't have to do this, it just makes it a little bit easier to animate the rotation. But you select the leaf or the parent arrow, and you create a keyframe on any frame that you want, probably the first frame. So in this case, we keyframe location and rotation, and then we move maybe 40-50 frames down the line. And then on frame 50, we lift this up a little bit, or maybe we rotate it just to change the position of the shadows slightly. And then you keyframe it one more time, location, rotation. Then you duplicate the first keyframe and you throw it back here, so now it's kind of swinging back and forth. And I did the same thing for all these leaves here, so now you can see they're kind of swinging, and that looks pretty cute. I also animated the focal length of the camera, so maybe we start in this kind of position, and then on frame, whatever the last frame is, let's say 150, we zoom out just a little bit. Of course, we keyframe that here as well. Then we select everything, linear interpolation, and then as we play the animation, it slowly zooms out, and we have the leaves swinging, and then it feels like you're on a beach. So now next time you go to the beach, you're gonna remember this perfume, you're gonna go online, you're gonna buy that shit. This is why it's important to create a nice vibe when you're trying to present a product. So on top of that, I'm gonna add some fucking seagull sound effects, and there you go. Just like that, you get a little video which they can post on their Instagram page or whatever, and we can sit here all day coming up with new ideas. By the way, you can also use AI to generate ideas for product visualization. I want to make another video to talk about that. You can basically use AI to pump out like 15 scenes in one day. But anyway, that's all I got for you in this video. If you followed along this tutorial, you can share your work in my Discord server. You're gonna get some feedback, maybe from me, maybe from the community. You can talk to the others, you can get some good ideas. And if you want to keep going down the product animation rabbit hole, go check out my product animation course. It's going to teach you to make something a little bit more complicated. It's going to be about a 30-second advertisement for an electronic product. So if you want to get serious about this, then go check that out. There's a link in the description. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.